What's the crack? Hey everyone, what's the crack? Now, many of you will never have heard of MOZA. This is the brand new MOZA direct drive system. It's a 16 Newton meter system. I've been very excited about this for a while. Now, this box has been sitting in customs for quite a while. So in today's video, we're gonna unbox it, get it set up on the rig, and give you my first impressions. Let's do it. So it's a pretty huge box. Just gonna grab my my trusty potato blade. And let's see, here we go. Okay, so let's pull out this. This is our steering wheel. We have the wheelbase, which is the heavy part. There we go. And we've also got the little heads-up display, which is pretty cool. So from a presentation point of view, this is really beautiful. It's like something you'd see on a shelf. Very, very attractive. So which one will we unbox first? I think the best one to unbox first will probably be the steering wheel. Even the little tape that's on here is MOZA branded. I am a sucker for little details like that. So you can see that there. Very nice. Open that up. Again, we're this somewhat typical packaging, which is, it's a lot of foam. I would like to see a more eco-friendly, now that said, I'm not sure how eco-unfriendly that is, but it doesn't give any clear indications that that's, because usually that just goes back in the box or it gets binned. So that's something that I'd like to see sim racing companies work on. I know it's probably not their top priority. What else have we got in here? We've got a little booklet. We've got some little bits and pieces. I'm guessing this is adjustment maybe for shifter paddles and stuff like that. It does come in a nice bag, nice presentation. And then here we go. Okay, first impressions. The stitching is quite soft compared to like the Simagic. So that's nice. The detents are really nice on that. Button presses feel very, very nice. There's not a lot of travel on them, but there's enough travel. We've got some little 7-way hats here. Maybe just a tiny little bit loose. It looks like an all around kind of, there's no clear up or down, so you can pretty much put that around in a circle, which may suit for some applications. I think I'd like to get a clear kind of detent, because you could hit off that quite easily. Whereas if there's just enough for a click, like on some steering wheels, then, because that's not a clicking noise, that's just it hitting the edge here. So that might be interesting. It's actually got a horn button, which is kind of cool. But first impressions of the front of this button box, I like the crushed carbon effect as well. It's got a little LED indicator here, which is nice. But the steering wheel itself feels quite nice. And then we've got our shifter paddles here and our clutch paddles. So yeah, clutch paddles feel quite good. I could probably do with them being a little bit heavier, but they're quite good. They're definitely not the lightest that I've used, and they're very, very usable. The shifters have quite a bit of travel on them. There's not a super clear, so you can see with my movement here, I'm moving it quite slowly, and you know, if you're resting your fingers on there, you could potentially miss shift, but nothing a stronger magnet wouldn't sort out. So for a quick bit of perspective here, I've brought in some other steering wheels as well. So we can see this is the way the MOZA shifts. And we've got the Simagic here. So put the two of them side by side. So the shift is quite nice on both. It's a little bit heavier on the Simagic. So that would be the kind of the only other steering wheel that I can really compare it to from a round steering wheel point of view. If we do take the GT4 here, which has an amazing set of shifters on it, and we just do the MOZA again. So that has a lovely tone. Now that's super loud. This is probably a little bit more forgiving. But again, just a stronger magnet. That's all that would need if that's not heavy enough for you. I don't think I'm going to be modifying that at all because I think that's actually quite good. These paddles have a lovely crushed carbon fiber effect as well. And the back here seems to be a plastic housing. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe that's to keep the weight down. Again, it's similar in weight to the Simagic wheel. So yeah, first impressions of that is that's really nice. It's got a nice round shape to it, but it does have some grip at the side as well. So it feels quite good. The stitching is nowhere near as hard as the Simagic, but we'll see how that wears over time as well, because this is a 2-year-old steering wheel and it still looks quite new. We'll see how the MOZA wears. As for quick release, we see the same type of quick release that we have on the Simagic. It's the NRG style quick release. Power is 5 pins as well. Again, similar to the Simagic. It's just the pins are actually on the opposite side. Now, I'm not sure if they're the exact same pins that are designated for power. Nice looking quick release, nice coloring as well. That is a beautiful steering wheel. It looks to me like, yeah, really nice package. One thing of note is that these buttons are extremely good. It doesn't seem like they're backlit though, which is one of the main advantages with the Simagic, that you have the power here, is that you can use that power to light stuff up. Now you do have this LED strip here, which is quite cool. It'll show you your rev gauge and stuff like that. The detents on the rotaries are way better than the Simagic, and of course you have the 7-way hats, which you just don't have. This, oh, sorry, these are not 7-way hats. These are only 5-way, yeah, 5-way hats here. So they don't have any rotary function on them, which is fine. You've got your rotaries here. So effectively, these 4 make up all the functionality of a 7-way hat. Actually, they all click down as well. So you would have effectively 8 functions between the 2 of those. So that's quite nice, and lots of buttons. You have plenty of buttons to choose from, and they're quite easy to reach. So very happy with that. I wonder if that is actually functional as well, if that actually is a button. So as part of my review process, I don't actually watch other people's videos, so I'm not sure if other people have noticed the same things as I have, or if they have the same questions that I have. Once this whole review is over, I can't wait to watch their reviews as well. But yeah, that horn button, I wonder if it is functional. So far, so good. Very nice piece of kit. Next up, we're going to look at the wheelbase itself. Again, really nice little MOZA stickers here, little security stickers. In here, again, more of this foam. We have a power cable here. Similar to the Simagic offerings, we've got an inline power switch. That seems to be quite a popular thing, and it's kind of a cheap alternative to having an emergency cutoff switch as well. So again, lots of foam, and here we go. Big block of a power supply, similar in size to Simicube or the Fanatec DD1 power supply. You get a USB cable with it. We've got some tooling with some nuts on it with Loctite pre-applied, which is can be quite handy. Let's pull this out. Okay, so we see straight away on the shaft here, it's a very different design to what we see for the Simagic, and we've got 3 little plates there. Now the Simagic has like 5 or 6, and it only uses 2 of them. But let's pull this out, because this is, from what I've seen in photos, this has been really beautiful to look at. And look at that. Smaller than I would have expected. You can see clearly that it is a DD servo motor by the basic shape of it. But then we've got these kind of vents at the side. I'm not sure if there's actually anything in there. One big thing, which is, I'm going to put this down because it's quite heavy. One big thing to note here is that you can't front mount this, which is a bit of a pity. This shaft is quite large in size. I'm not sure if that's just done for aesthetics or yeah, not 100% sure, but yeah. So nice painted effect here. The orange is nicer in the flesh than I thought it would be, and it will appeal to a lot of people. Now, I would prefer the black, I think, but there is a black version, and that is the 20 Newton meter or 21 Newton meter. As far as the steering wheel and the orientation is concerned, I'm not sure which way it should be. I'm guessing by the fact that we've got these little threads in here that should be facing downwards. I am not sure about that, and I don't think I can, because everything is recessed, I don't think I can do any damage by doing this incorrectly anyway. So interesting to note here that this is the way the shaft needs to be. These holes are at the top. I would have assumed they need to be at the bottom. How I know this is because we've got the 6 ball bearings, the inserts for the ball bearings there, and the 4 at the bottom. So if we look at the steering wheel, we can see that the 6 are at the top and the 4 are at the bottom. So that's, now you won't really see that part anyway, but interesting to see why that might be. These just seem to be so that you can release this collar, but it should be as simple as offering up this quick release to this shaft, and then it should just click into place. So exact same system, works really well. That spins nice and freely as well. Don't feel anything happening right there, so we know for definite that it's a servo motor, and a smooth one at that. Yeah, I'd like to see front mounting options. We'll see how that goes, because these bolts don't seem to be super strong, and I'm not sure what the pattern is there. So last but not least, we have the HD racing meter, which is our little screen that we can put on the top. This looks particularly promising from the photos. It does use proprietary software as far as I can see. It doesn't look like SimHub, but we'll see how that software works out. And here we go. It's actually thinner than I thought. Let's pull this out. They really know how to do their packaging. Obviously their experience in the camera market with their gimbals and stuff like that is standing to them. There is no protective cover on the front here, but by the look of it, there might be some fingerprints on that already. Maybe that was already removed. I don't know. What else is in here? We've got a little screwdriver. Oh, it's a little Allen key driver, little extra bolts and bits and pieces. But I'm excited to offer that up to the... Okay, we've got little pins here. So similar to the pins that we saw on the steering wheel. They have a slight spring to them, but they connect to the steering wheel base. So let's see how this actually offers up. These are the little pins that I was talking about, and they offer up to here. Now, there's no easy way to know exactly where this offers up, because this all moves here. It would be nice if this just slotted in and clicked into place, but it looks like you need some little bit of tooling to actually install that. So I'm just going to get that installed. It's not major, but considering this really nice seamless connection, I almost expect some, I don't know, magnet would be very cool there. So you could just pull that off, put it on whenever you need it, because in some cases you might have like I have steering wheels that have a screen in them, so it would be cool to be able to turn this off by just pulling it off. That would be nice. So I've been trying to offer this up. I kind of had finished filming because well, I thought this would be really simple, but there's no comfortable or no like natural way for that to sit in here, and I got my hopes up, I think, with these little pins that was going to be some sort of like super tidy, nice, intuitive solution. But getting these bolts in is actually difficult, and one of the things that I'm terrified of is snapping these little bolts. So I can actually see in my little bit of trial and error here, I can see that, I don't know if you can see that there, but I've actually damaged this here, and I don't know exactly how. I don't know what's been rubbing there, but yeah, that sucks. If I wanted to run without a screen, then I would have a scratch there forever. So this system should mate to that just a little bit nicer. It doesn't. I don't understand why that can't just click into place. It's not a piece that needs to be, you know, needs 4 bolts to sit in there. It could just click into place. So that's the system pretty much put together. Relatively simple. I have to go and install it on the rig. I just have to figure out how I'm actually going to mount this, because what I have on there right now is a front mount system, and this doesn't support front mount. This is base mount only. I do have a base mount universal plate for my P1X, but I do wonder if this is going to fit it. So that's my next step. So for those of you who are worried, I have removed the screen because that is a little bit fragile when you're moving this around. The goal right now is to just establish that pattern, see what it is. I think it's exactly 3 inches, so it's just, yeah, 8 centimeters by 8 centimeters. But we don't have anything here. We have some that match up, but we don't have, we would need a corresponding hole around about here. So to mount the wheelbase, I got sent one of these by Abruzzi. Ben from Abruzzi sorted me out, so that should allow me to base mount this. I do only have the universal plate, so I might yet end up drilling, because I don't have one of these crossbars, so I might end up still drilling the actual universal plate. I'm not 100% sure, but this will definitely, at the very least, give me a template of where to drill, but hopefully I'll be able to use this. So for reference, this is what the Simagic Alpha power supply looks like. It's quite big, it's quite chunky. The MOZA one is even bigger. It's wider. Yeah, the MOZA one is huge by comparison. So that's one thing worth keeping in mind. That's quite a big block. So I'll just hide the power supply here. So I'm lucky enough to have this little floor here where I can hide all this stuff. But that's a big power supply. So with that, we should be okay to switch it on because the power is on. So let's do that. We have a little light here and we've got a pretty cool Knight Rider effect here. We've got some calibration going on. Haven't seen that since Logitech. Pretty funky. That's the wheelbase mounted. I have it at the right angle. I think I can just about see over the top of the steering wheel here. I can just about see the MOZA logo, and I have a good clean space here for when I eventually install that screen. I should be able to see it right through it. So I don't have this perfectly horizontally. I have it at a bit of an angle, which is the nice part of a rig like this. You can adjust all those angles, and a lot of rigs these days you can. And I have it as close to the screen as possible. So this is actually almost just touching my screen. I can move my screens here, and now it is actually touching my screen. So that's just touching the top of the wheelbase. So I've got a decent proximity. I'd like to get closer. The shape of the wheelbase, there's a little bit of a lump on it, so that's not entirely, it's not ideal, but we'll make do with it, and we'll see how it is when we're actually driving. It'll probably be different when we have that screen mounted here as well, so it'll make it feel just that little bit closer, that little bit more cohesive. The quick release is exactly like a lot of other quick releases that we've used in the past, so we can just click this on here, and that clicks on. And there is a power switch at the back, which is really nice. We've got this little Knight Rider light type of thing going on. It does this little calibration dance. I noticed when I did it first. Other than that, we are like caught up here because this is all I know right now. So I have gone onto the website, and on here we can see that they have mobile app, all that, and I have set this to download. So let's just install the MOZA Pit House. Windows doesn't trust it, but we can run it anyway. Let's do that, and let's see, install. This is a very handy downloads page, very easy to find, a lot easier than a lot of other manufacturers of these. The downloads are kind of a little bit hidden, but this yeah, all looks pretty good. Let's just do the default installation. Got a specific iRacing license. That is interesting. I accept these licenses and click continue. We'll see how long this takes. Okay, run MOZA Pit House right now. Let's do this. Okay, we want English. Clicked English. That looks like the, I don't have the pedals, of course. I only have the wheelbase and the screen. MOZA Pit House update. There's a new version available. I just downloaded this one, but so far it looks pretty smooth. It was just like, do you want to update? Click, and I updated. It's giving me this little command window here, and we'll just yeah, we'll see how it runs. That's after running. Okay, the app starts up again, which is nice. Signal lost. Oh, here we go. Right, so the first thing we see is that's not calibrated, but that's fine. Oh, there we go. No, Still not calibrated. That's fine. The maximum angle, let's just for now, let's just set it to 540, right? 540. And there's a big center button there, so let's just center the steering wheel. We'll click center, bang, done. So this should be roughly 90 degrees. This should be roughly 90 degrees. Yeah, that looks good. Game force intensity feedback. So this is a 16 Newton meter base. So let's just crank it up here a bit to let's just give it 100% and see what happens. We can always tone it down in the actual game itself. Here, basic settings, maximum steering angle 540, road sensitivity is on 10. Yeah, we're just going to tweak this as we go along. You can import settings, default settings, maximum speed of the steering wheel. Okay, interesting. All right, we'll learn about all these other advanced settings here. Natural inertia, so that's your inertia setting here. So it is slightly different. Speed, FFB, equalizer. Okay. Oh, that is clever. That is pretty clever, right? So they've got operating wheel, body bumps, riding on curb, ABS vibration. Okay, so this is super intuitive. And what does this do? I can raise and lower, almost like an equalizer. I can raise and lower the forces. So if I find that a slow curb ride is too much, I can actually turn that down. It shows the different hertz, like an equalizer does. This is a very, very clever force feedback visualizer. I really like this. This is very clever, an easy way to explain what the forces are. Now, whether it works or not, I don't know, but we'll see. Okay, here we've got dual clutch paddles. Okay, oh, that's nice. That is really nice. So when you press these buttons on the steering wheel, oh, that is super nice. What a nice interface. I love the way it like fades out then. But yeah, all these buttons, I love that visualization. That is really nice. RPM indicator, we can change the various blocks and stuff. Let's leave it as default for now. You can change the brightness as well. So that's nice. We don't have pedals. We don't have the screen connected right now. It shows you the firmware of the base and of the steering wheel very, very cleanly here. Yeah, awesome. Very, very cool. There we go. Okay, so we have force feedback. Feels quite heavy just now. So we'll see how that goes. This car, as many of you who are familiar with the channel will have seen before, this is a bit of a handful. Does feel kind of weird driving this with a round rim. So far, like even out of the box, forces are pretty good. I mean, it's very controllable. It doesn't require, it doesn't require much more right now. I'm gonna have to play around with the settings because, of course, I'm completely unfamiliar with this wheelbase, but this is so far so good. Let's jump into the software there and see if we can tweak it as we go along here. So things of note here. Oh, all right, it was quite easy to catch that slide there, and it's a very difficult car to drive. We can see the rev gauge is kind of cool. It's a little bit smooth. Like the LEDs are very smooth the way they run one into the other. So that's kind of cool. And it flashes on red line as well. So the road textures and stuff seem pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them. I must just keep an eye just before the old hairpin. I must just see if I can actually feel the suspension kind of warping a little bit, because that's one thing that I really enjoy with good force feedback. It's one of the reasons I choose this track, is because there are some sections where you just feel incredible amounts of detail. Counter steer, everything, the speed of it is very, very good. Obviously I need to just play with the settings, tweak the settings, but even as it is right now, I'd be more than happy with that, and it's pretty close to the default settings. Let's brake nice and early here. Have to leave off the throttle slightly here. So this is the part where I expect to feel the suspension warping. Yeah, I feel it a bit. I don't feel it as pronounced as you know, other wheelbases. Yeah, the compressions and stuff on the track, I'm lacking just a little bit. But again, this is just a first impressions video. It's not a review video, so stuff like that, I will definitely, well, I will most likely be able to tune with the software. Steering wheel feels great though. The stitching is not too hard. The buttons are beautiful, really nice. They have a lovely press. I'd love if they were backlit. That would be nice. The detents on the rotaries are extremely good. The stitching is not too hard. The fake leather or whatever it is feels quite nice. I like the customizability. There is a mobile app as well, which you can download, but I haven't messed with that yet. And I'm not sure if I will. You know, if I have the software, you know, I can just alt tab to the software. Do I really need to adjust it from my mobile? I don't know. But it's you know, it's fun to have it. Force feedback is good though. So far, so good. It's not the best force feedback I've ever tried, but it's pretty good. You can definitely feel that there's a lot of detail. The shifters feel really good. Yeah, nice and clean and precise. I can be pretty confident with this. There's nothing really to get used to. It feels quite intuitive. You know what? It could just be the fact that this is a large steering wheel, and usually when I drive here, I drive with a more Formula style steering wheel. I do feel it. It's just a little bit dampened. The reason might be because I have a larger diameter steering wheel that I'm using. It's not like a Formula wheel. So that might be it, but then with the 16 Newton meters of torque, and especially at you know, 100%, because I have it at 100%. That's actually interesting as well. I have it at 100% here in. I have it at 100%, and I have it at 100% in game force feedback intensity, and I have it at 100% there. I have it at 98% in game, and it just seems weird that it doesn't. I mean, that doesn't feel like 16 Newton meters of torque. Maybe I'm missing something. It doesn't feel as powerful as what I would expect it to be right now. Yeah, force feedback is that. I mean, it says 200 here. Maybe that's it. Yeah. So like, some software does that where it's like 200%. But I mean, that's really just 100%, right? There's no such thing as being twice as powerful. You know, there's no such thing as double in-game gain. Yeah, that gives you a lot more force there. So that does feel a lot closer to the 16 Newton meters. So that's fine. That's okay. It's good to know. When you change the setting on there, it's pretty instant as well. So that's nice. And the force feedback effect equalizer is also, I really love that. I can't wait to play around with that. So yeah, that's yeah, quite nice. So there you have my first impressions of this MOZA R16 steering wheel. The base plate doesn't fit a universal steering wheel mount here, so I had to drill some holes in that. That's all fine. I did need a template. It would be good if there was a template with the steering wheel, so that you could drill that 8x8 hole pretty easily. That would be nice, even if, like, especially if the template was a little metal like gasket with 4 holes in it, so that you could offer it up to your existing base plate, and then you can just drill straight through. That would be really, really nice. That would have saved me a lot of hassle, because, you know, it's a universal base plate, but how universal does it actually get? So that's all good. The steering wheel is nice. I'm sitting in the dark here, and I don't see any backlighting on the steering wheel. That is something that I am missing from other steering wheels. I love backlighting, so I'm missing that. Now the colors are nice and bright, and I'm sitting in this blue light, so there's a little bit of reflection off the off those colored lights. Of course, I can find the buttons and stuff like that, and VR users definitely won't care. But for me, visually, I like a steering wheel to have those colours, so that would be nice. It's excellent to see these 4-way hats and these rotaries with the click down. Very nice for navigating through your pit menus and stuff like that. The crushed carbon shifters are beautiful, really just very, very nice. The click on them isn't too loud. It's loud. It's not too loud. They're definitely not the loudest shifters I have. The clutch paddles are relatively light, but I'd say they're very, very functional. I haven't tested those properly yet. I will test those properly for my full review. Don't want to make this video too long. The steering wheel, the stitching, all that feels pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. I would like if there were front mount options. I'd like if there were side mount options. The lump on the top of the wheelbase makes it a little bit difficult to fit under screens and stuff like that. So the shape of it is all, it's very cool to look at and it's different. But I like it when it's just nice and square and just slots in. It doesn't take up more space, I guess, than it needs to, because those vents at the side, they seem like they're like fake vents. They don't really actually do anything. Yeah, that's my first impression. So if you do have questions and things that you'd like me to cover in the full review, because this is not a review, this is just my first impressions. If you do have things that you specifically want me to target, hone in on, stuff like the screen, stuff like that, I might do a separate review for the screen because it's not part of the base package. So I might just do the base and the steering wheel. If you have specific things that you want to know about any of those products, do ask me in the comments below, and I'll make sure to prioritize those for my actual review, which should be in about 3 or 4 weeks time usually. For now though, I've really enjoyed it. It's been very intuitive and easy to use. I still have to tweak the software and I'll try and find better settings. But yeah, for now, I've been Lawrence. Thanks a million for watching. I'll chat to you later.